Why the 2024 Golden State Warriors are scarier than you think. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors made some big moves this offseason, and a lot of teams are wondering whether they have a championship team. I asked on a poll yesterday what were your favorite trades and signings from the Warriors, so in today's video we're going to be going through 5 of the great additions the Golden State Warriors added this offseason, and how they are going to help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first great addition to the Golden State Warriors is none other than Chris Paul. Now this is a no-brainer. Chris Paul is a 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, and made the NBA's 75th anniversary team. So he is a fantastic player and is considered a superstar in today's era, and I think he will do a fantastic job for the Golden State Warriors. Now last season he did play for the Phoenix Suns, where he averaged 13.9 points, 8.9 assists, and also 4.3 rebounds. But something about his game that has definitely improved over the years is definitely his three-point shooting. As you all know, in the current season, he actually averaged 38% from the three-point line. When we go all the way back to his rookie season, he was only averaging 28% from the three-point line. So we definitely see a huge increase in his three-point percentages as years have gone by, and also the attempts that he was taking. Now he's shooting around 4.4 three-point attempts, where back in his rookie season, he was only taking 2 and a bit. So when it comes to that, I think it is super important when it comes to Chris Paul being a part of this Golden State Warriors team. They've said it time and time again, what Chris Paul is going to add to this team is definitely more structure and more efficiency out there, especially on offense. When it comes to the second unit, if he is going to be playing with that second unit, I think it is going to be important to really have guidance for that bench squad, due to the fact that they didn't really have too much guidance when they were under Jordan Poole. So I think Chris Paul can definitely provide that structure and the guidance, have that veteran experience that the second unit definitely needs. Now, a complaint I saw in a lot of the comments were definitely due to the fact that Chris Paul is not wanting to come off the bench. Now, yes, this may be the case right now, but I do have to agree, guys. I think over the time, Chris Paul is going to accept his role coming off the bench, due to the fact that he's getting older. He's 38 years old, and he needs to win an NBA championship now. And the best way for them to do that is he needs to be coming off the bench, and I think Chris Paul will eventually accept that. So although that may be an issue right now, I think as the season gets going, it won't probably be a problem later on down the track, especially later on in the season. The second great addition to the Golden State Warriors is none other than Dario Saric. Now, a lot of you have been commenting on all of my videos saying that the Golden State Warriors need a scoring big man ASAP, and they finally have found that in Dario Saric. Now, Saric did play for Oklahoma City Thunder last season and also played for Phoenix Suns. However, when he was with his time with OKC, he was averaging 7.4 points, and then he also averaged 3.3 rebounds and 0.9 assists. On top of this, he had an effective field goal percentage of 61%, which was fantastic, and a three-point percentage of 39%. So guys, Dario Saric is that scoring big man that the Golden State Warriors need, and he also does provide that height, coming in at 6'10", 225 pounds. What I think Saric can definitely provide, especially off the bench, is that big man scoring that they definitely need, and someone that can space the floor out, as Saric has a great three-point shot. If we look at the big men right now, when it comes to JaMychal Green, he's a solid three-point shooter, but I wouldn't say is completely consistent. You have Kevon Looney, who isn't really a shooter from outside, and Draymond Green, who takes the occasional three here and there. So there's a lot of inside presence felt when it comes to the current bigs, and adding Dario Saric can definitely space out the floor a lot more, as he is a three-point shooter. He can wait out in the corner and really give more space for players to drive in, such as Wiggins, Curry, Kuminga, all these other players. So I think adding Dario Saric has been a fantastic addition, and I think him being still at 29 years old, still coming into his peak years into the NBA, has that veteran experience, I think is going to be very important. On top of this, he did play with Chris Paul, which I think is super important, due to the fact that if they are running that second unit together, that they already have that chemistry and they definitely know how to play with each other. So I think Saric joining this team is going to be great, as he will be teaming up with his old teammate again, Chris Paul, and on top of that, he does join a team that needs three-point shooters, and Dario Saric can definitely be that guy. The third great addition is none other than Trayce Jackson-Davis. Now, as you all know, TJD was actually drafted in this year's draft. He went second round, 27th pick, or 57th overall, and even though he was that low in the draft, a lot of GMs thought that he was the biggest steal of the second round, and I completely agree with that. Trayce Jackson-Davis has the potential to become not just a great player, but a fantastic player, especially for the Golden State Warriors. If you look at his last season with Indiana back in college, he was averaging 20.9 points and 10.8 rebounds, and also 4 assists. So he was a fantastic player, was averaging a double-double, and I think he can bring those stats over into the Golden State Warriors very efficiently. He also had a field goal percentage of 58%, which was great, and also had a free throw percentage of 70%, which is solid as well. Now, when it comes to TJD, obviously he is still a young player, only 23 years old. However, he still has a lot of experience since he did play all 4 years of college. I think he will be able to transfer his game over into the Golden State Warriors and also over into the NBA pretty easily. But what I do think TJD really comes in handy is due to the fact that his athleticism is out of this world. He's 6'9", 245 pounds. He jumps out the gym, has great defense, great rebounding, and on top of that, he has a great height of 6'9" and also 245 pounds. I think what the Warriors were definitely missing out on last season was definitely height and athleticism, and now that they got Dario Saric and now add Trayce Jackson-Davis to that mix, I think they definitely got enough bigs in order to take on some pretty big teams. I think last season, if we look at their last playoff run against the LA Lakers, where they really did struggle was definitely due to the fact that Anthony Davis and LeBron James were a bit too strong and a bit too big for all of them to actually, defend. When it came to Kevon Looney coming off, then you'd have Draymond Green. Draymond Green's only 6'6", so they did run to a little bit of problems here and there. But I think when it comes to this next season coming up, now that they got so many players that are 6'9" or above, I think they really can do a fantastic job at defending bigger players and also bigger teams, which I think will result in more wins for this Golden State Warriors roster. The fourth addition is none other than Corey Joseph. Now, as you all know, Corey Joseph last season played for the Detroit Pistons, where he averaged 6.9 points, 1.7 rebounds, and also 3.5 assists. So he did a fantastic job for Detroit Pistons, but you do have to remember he was only averaging around 18 minutes per game. Now, when it comes to Corey Joseph, his career has kind of dwindled due to the fact that when he was with Indiana and also Toronto, he was getting quite a lot of minutes, 25 plus, and when he since moved to Detroit, with all these young guys coming in, it actually had Corey Joseph out of the roster and actually into more of a role player or even bench player type role. So it was really tough to see Corey Joseph not get the minutes that he deserves, but I do believe that Corey Joseph, even at 31 years old, can definitely still provide a lot for this team. Now, although their ready is Chris Paul and Steph Curry, a lot of you guys in the comments did actually say that Corey Joseph may not see a lot of minutes, and yes, that may be somewhat true, but I do believe it's better to have Corey Joseph than not have him in the team. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, and I think what Corey Joseph really does well is his efficiency out there on the floor. Whether he has 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even 15, I think with the amount of minutes that he is actually given, he does a fantastic job at being very efficient. Like I mentioned before, if we looked at his 3-point percentage and effective field goal percentage, he was actually shooting a 3-point percentage of 39%, which is great, and also had a 2-point percentage of 47%. So Corey Joseph is a very efficient player, even with the amount of minutes that he can get, and I think Golden State Warriors definitely still need a player that can score, and he can definitely be that guy. Now, Corey Joseph has played with some fantastic teams, Toronto, Indiana, and also with the San Antonio Spurs, so he knows what it's like playing under a very strict structure when it comes to, having your role, accepting that role, and doing the best you can in that role as well. And I think him playing with the Spurs will definitely help him when it comes to his mindset, his play style, when it comes to playing with this Warriors team. As you all know, Steve Kerr was actually coached on how to actually coach by none other than Greg Popovich, so there's definitely going to be a lot of similarities there, and maybe we can see Corey Joseph get back on track and being the great player that he was back in those San Antonio Spurs and also Toronto days. The fifth great addition is none other than Lester Quinones. Now, as you all know, Lester was a part of the team last season, but guys, Steve Kerr has actually made it known that Lester may be playing a lot more games or suiting up for a lot more Golden State Warriors games rather than playing with the G League. And I think this is going to be interesting because, as you all know, Lester has absolutely balled out in the Summer League, dropping 20 plus points in almost every single game he played. So he was doing a fantastic job, and on top of that, he also has done a fantastic job with the G League team as well, and I think his stats will definitely be able to translate into the NBA finally and given that opportunity. When it comes to Lester, what I love about his game is definitely he plays a lot like Steph Curry. A lot of people have made that similarity here and there due to the fact that he loves his step back threes, his on the run threes, all these different things. So when it comes to him on the 3-point, he's definitely a lights out shooter, and I think he can definitely provide a lot for this Golden State Warriors team, especially coming off the bench. If we look at his G League stats, he was actually able to average 20.2 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 4.0 assists. Now, I don't know about you, but those stats definitely look like Steph Curry numbers, and I think it honestly is great to see a player of his caliber be able to get the opportunity to finally play for the Golden State Warriors. Now, he went undrafted. He's 6'4", 208 pounds, so he's much more of a bigger-ish type guard, and I think you definitely saw that in the Summer League highlights where he was just absolutely bullying players scores left, right, and center. What I love about his game is that he's very diverse. Not only does he have a great three-point shot, but his inside presence is definitely felt. He's got great defense as well, and his great playmaking abilities definitely helps him get his teammates open. On top of this, he averaged 6.2 rebounds at 6'4", which I think is a very surprising stat and not many people expected. He's a great rebounder, which I think is going to pay dividends for the Golden State Warriors team coming into it. Now, when it comes to all the Warriors additions, what I do believe they all really do provide is the great mentality when it comes to they all want to win a championship at any cost. Like I said, whether they're coming off the bench, whether they're starting, it doesn't really matter. They want to win an NBA championship, and that's probably the greatest thing that these Golden State Warriors players now add to the Warriors team.